Outgoing Chief of Staff John Kelly is making headlines with a surprising exit interview with the LA Times, where he seems to directly contradict the president about exactly what it is he's proposing to build at the border. The showdown over the shutdown, now in its 9th day. President Trump on Twitter blaming Democrats for the stalemate, for not authorizing $5 billion for what he calls the desperately needed wall. But outgoing White House Chief of Staff John Kelly tells the LA Times, to be honest, it's no wall, explaining we left a solid concrete wall early on in the administration when we asked people what they needed and where they needed it.
It's very open-minded about combining wall funding with other things to make it a win-win for the country.
Republican Senator Lindsey Graham also described it as a wall. He lunched with the president and suggested there could be a compromise, including giving dreamers who were brought to the country illegally as children work permits.
Senator, after you outlined this to President Trump, what were the first words out of his mouth?
Interesting.
We need to sit down and pound out a deal.
On Face the Nation, Democratic Senator John Tester called the impasse ridiculous and said Republicans and Democrats need to reach an agreement to end the partial government shutdown, but says the wall won't make the country safer.
What's the most effective way to secure that southern border? And that's really what's important here. I think we can do it with technology and manpower and much more effectively than with a wall.
The White House signaled the president won't be reaching out to Democrats, even as Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi is just days away from being sworn in as House Speaker.
They know where he is. He's exactly where he's been the entire time, working in Washington, D.C., in the White House.
Meanwhile, House Democrats are vowing to introduce legislation to end the partial government shutdown as soon as they take control on January 3rd. Back to you.
Yeah.